And in Heels is a motivational, inspirational, and educational podcast for women entrepreneurs. Let's learn from each other, laugh with each other, and support each other so we can all succeed together. And just remember, women can do anything, and in heels. Hello, welcome to And in Heels. Today, our guest is Rhonda Hemphill. Rhonda is a financial advisor and the founder of Rhonda Hemphill and Consultants. Welcome to the show, Rhonda.
Thank you, Kelly.
Morgan and I are thrilled to have you here today with us, and we're so excited for you to share your story. So to get started, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Oh, most definitely. Well, I'm a mother of three. I'm a widow. My children are all adults, thank God. They're
It's nice when they get to that point.
It is. And I have three wonderful grandchildren as well.
Oh, you have three grandbabies.
Yes.
Oh, I did not know. Oh, you lit up on that one. Sometimes the kids will take it out of you, but the grandkids give it back.
That's right. That's what they say, and they definitely do. It's a different experience.
I'll get those someday.
You will.
Hint,
you will.
Hint.
Maybe one day.
So tell us a little bit about what you do. What is Rhonda Hemphill and Consultants? What do you do?
Well, right now I prefer and really enjoy working with women to help them to build confidence around their finances and really gain control over their financial habits and financial decisions.
So tell me a little bit about that journey, because, I know finances are intimidating to people.
Yes.
And I worked in banking and finance for a lot of years, not as a financial advisor, but just from the banking angle. And I was a commercial lender for years, for those of you that don't know that little part of my life. And what I found in my experience is that it's intimidating and people are all in and know every number, or they have their head in the sand and they're just hoping it gets better on its own.
Yeah, it's all or nothing usually. And so really standing in that space to give women, again, because most of the time it's us who are running the household and
making those decisions,
but not always confidently. And then when we make mistakes, we slip into this shame and blame and guilt space.
Sure.
So really helping women to regain their confidence by, first of all, telling them to have themselves grace, because no one teaches finances.
It's so true.
Even like yourself,
So
you've been in
right.
that industry. No one sits you down to say, this is how you pay your bills. This is how you build wealth. These are the appropriate investments that you should be making. No, it just doesn't happen. So I teach women to have grace.
Nice.
And then give them the tools and resources that they need so that they can restart.
And I think as women specifically, since that's, what And in Heels focuses on is empowering women, what we find is you get into habits and routines. And then, as you said, we're almost embarrassed or ashamed to ask for help because who do you ask? You don't go ask your bank loan officer, right? And say, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. Can you help me? Because they want you to be financially responsible.
Right.
Who do you ask? Your accountant does your taxes, but they don't tell you how to live every day and then build wealth. And then unforeseen circumstances can cause debt, or just
living life
can cause debt. So how do you help women where they're at? Like, does it matter where you're at today to begin to regain financial control?
It actually doesn't, because every day gives us a new opportunity to start again. And so to first answer your question, who do we ask?
Yeah.
You should be able to ask your financial advisor, because it's their job.
If you have one, right? But if you don't feel like you're worthy of having one, then where do you start?
That's a great question. Google is your friend, but then what questions do you ask Google?
Right. But how would someone find someone like you? Obviously, you're on this show, and we're hoping that our women, the women listeners realize that you don't have to have money in the bank and have a financial advisor to gain this kind of insight and help. So where do you start with someone?
I start with them, again, where they are. We have some programs where you can start with as little as $25.
Okay, so you can have debt.
You can have debt.
And $25 and say, I want to gain my financial security today, and you're going to help them.
That's right. That's
okay.
Right. And so you can, again, we start where they are. They also can be 5, 6, 7-figure earners.
Yeah.
Per month, and not used to the wealth that they've had. Because I have a client that I'm working with now who has an abundance of wealth, and because she didn't grow up with that, she doesn't know how to manage it.
That's a great point.
And she pours money into herself, but then doesn't complete the programs. And she just feels like she's running in circles.
Like empty.
And so again,
Okay.
with both parts, both managing of the monies and giving her direction as to how to invest in herself so that she's not at a loss. So I work with both ends of the spectrum.
Very nice. Very nice. So, for women out there, so whether you are financially secure but don't know how to build wealth using your finances, or you're in debt and want to learn how you can get out of debt so you can build wealth, this is a program, what you offer would help serve for both audiences.
Yeah, and even in the middle. I have another client that I just gained. She and her husband each bring in $200,000 a year. So $400,000 is coming into the family. And she says we're still pinching pennies because we just spend what we have.
Yeah.
So just simple budgeting.
Sure.
So it could be anything.
And maybe even just understanding where it's going is probably some of it. We get busy.
We do. And we just, once again, we live life.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I know Morgan's going to talk to you about the next topic, so we're going to dig right in here. You've got a great story to tell, so I'm excited for you to share.
Yeah, so obviously, just like all of us, we didn't wake up one day and you didn't just become a financial advisor. So what motivated you to choose this path, and at what point in your life did you say, this is what I want to do to help all people but women specifically?
So it's kind of twofold, and I know it's a long story. I'm going to try to shorten it.
You go ahead.
But I was a cardiovascular specialist before I came into the finance world.
That's a big change.
It is a huge change.
That's a major change.
In that role, I was helping physicians by doing heart dissection courses and anatomy and physiology, and then going into the OR with them.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at that. What a drastic change. Okay, continue on.
But always with that education and helping and supporting others. And so that also carried over into my patients. A lot of them didn't want to have these procedures that they were having done and wanted to know ways to get healthier. So I added health coaching kind of on the side and would help people get off their meds.
So your passion for helping and supporting others came through in various ways until you got to this point.
Yes. Okay. And what I found was 8 out of 10 of my heart patients that had stressors that caused or contributed to their heart disease were based around finances.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so
isn't it amazing how God and the universe help us connect dots sometimes?
I know, right? And so I was like, well, I'm going to go learn more about finances so I can add that to my coaching. And went and got my financial licenses and realized that was really what I needed to be doing. And that
was your calling.
I left corporate, established my business in 2016, and have continued since then.
Wow. Isn't it amazing when you hear your story, which is incredible, by the way, how sometimes we just aren't on the right path, but it's those steps along the way that teach us what we need to know or introduce us to the ideas we need to become aware of to find our ultimate passion and path.
It is. And the other part of that piece is when I was actually in class for my life insurance license, I came home and my husband had passed away.
Oh my, unexpectedly, obviously.
From a stroke.
Oh, wow.
And
so this was a healthy individual that you thought was healthy. You left for work.
Yeah, to go to class. And I come home and my son's upset because he can't get a hold of his dad. And
Wow. Now, how did that impact and change your life? I mean,
well,
in ways we can't imagine.
Definitely.
And our condolences to you. And obviously, it's a bit ago, but still fresh, I'm for sure, for you and your family.
Definitely. But how it contributes to this story is we had a $500,000 policy that I thought everything was all set that my husband had put in place because, we want our husbands to take care of things. And once they say it's done, it's done.
Right.
However, the stipulations of that policy did not align with his reasons for death. He did not die of natural causes. He died of a stroke, which was due to a pre-existing condition, which was heart disease. Anyhow, they did not pay the claim.
Because I would have never thought that.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you have thought that?
No,
I mean, obviously.
I did not.
Wow.
And so that's where my passion for educating women comes from, because a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, the woman's going to outlive her husband. And or we're the ones that are maintaining the finances. And what life insurance is for, it's income replacement.
Sure.
It's never going to bring that partner back, but it will maintain the home. You can use it to pay off a mortgage. You can use it to pay off debt, just so your life is a little easier because you no longer have that income coming in.
Sure.
And so that's where the passion to help women came from, because I was that woman who thought everything was fine until it wasn't.
Wow.
How did you feel that day when you realized that natural causes that stroke didn't fall in that category because of these caveats?
Yeah.
And now you have to figure out how to pull your life together. Like, what did you do?
I had a nervous breakdown. I had an
how
anxiety attack.
Couldn't
breathe. I felt like my chest was going to cave in. I literally couldn't do anything.
Oh my God. I can feel your pain from here.
Yeah,
I really
asked
can.
my stepson to take over and handle the affairs because I just couldn't.
Yeah. So to prevent anyone from having to go through that again, you found your calling.
I did.
Wow. What a powerful story. And I'm so sorry that you went through that. But, you know, I think we all have, but we all have a journey. And those journeys some are easier than others, right? And we want to compare and we want to reflect and we want to look at others and say, but why did I have to go through that? Or why did I have to? But I think it's all a lesson.
It is. It is.
And I'm grateful for it.
It definitely,
how gracious.
It definitely shapes us. And there's always what I want to call a catalytic event in our lives that does take us in one direction or another on our journeys. So I hate that it happened, but at the same time, it allows me to prepare women for the unexpected and for families, not just women, but families for
and to have the
unexpected.
Empathy and the insight and the heart and the soul to understand what it can mean to be
in that space,
in that spot or in those shoes, and how what you do can save someone from having to experience that. Like, what a gracious way to approach your career. I love that.
Thank you. And I've had several widows that have come to me to say, I wish
I would have known.
I would have known. You know, one of them, she's in a group that we are in together. It says, they wish they would have known. And so, I want to stand on my little soapbox in my heels. And say,
in your heels. Ladies. That's right, because we can do anything in heels. Yes. So tell us a little bit about, you know, obviously your whole story's inspirational, but what has inspired you through all of the hard times, the good times, the learning, the journey? What has inspired you?
Really recognizing that we shape our future. And yes, preparation is important, but just the awareness and the mindset that you have the ability to control tomorrow. Yeah, we can't control the lumps and the bumps in the road.
No.
But you can forge a course. And even though those lumps and bumps come, you can still continue on that course.
Yes.
And so really empowering women to start not just with life insurance, but really envisioning, what do you want your life to look like? Where do you want to be?
Yeah.
And let's create a financial plan to get you there. Let's bridge that vision board into reality.
I was just going to say, let's talk about that for a minute, because I think what happens is we keep a lot of thoughts in our minds. And as thoughts go around in our mind, a counselor once told me that when we get so many thoughts in our mind, we run out of room.
Yep.
And when you run out of space, you run out of space to self-care and to breathe and to rationalize. And so you kind of let those thoughts out. How do you do that? So vision boards, obviously, is what.
Vision boards.
How do you how do you leave room so that you can map that out clearly?
Self-care is definitely one of the forward most things that I think about. Every Sunday, devote time to myself and my spiritual space with meditation, candles, that whole thing. Once a week, massages.
Nice. Nice.
Daily journaling.
Yes.
All of these things, like you said, help to release the things that are going on
Those
in your
thoughts.
mind, those thoughts, even if they're stressful thoughts. I tell people that say, hey, I can't meditate because my mind won't turn off. It's not supposed to turn off.
Right.
Don't listen to that person that is telling you to quiet your mind.
Right.
That doesn't happen.
Right.
Write it down.
Right.
And then that quiets the mind. Journal. And then after everything has been written down, then go back to that space. And then you know what you hear? Inspirational thoughts come at that time.
Yes.
And so that's when you leave room.
I think that's that. And you know, a very, very, very good friend of mine, and hopefully she's listening to this, but a very good friend of mine is in a space where I would call her probably a master meditator.
Okay.
And so she's going to laugh at me when I say this, but my mind very rarely quiets down. And she agrees. You know, she calls it chatter. And that chatter is hard to quiet. But what I find is exactly what you said. If I listen to soft music for about 10 minutes and I write whatever's coming to my mind. It doesn't have to be, I don't control it anymore. I learned to let the words
Free write
come.
is what it's
Morgan
called.
calls them my fortune cookies.
Oh, I love it. Or downloads.
Yes.
Yes. Because when I write, it usually flows and makes sense at the end, but the snippets or the sentences may not all fit in or make sense where they are. But when you look at it from a 30,000 foot view, she's like, oh my gosh, that's your fortune cookie. But after I do that, and I let all those thoughts out and I write until I'm out of words. Sometimes it's a page, sometimes it's 3.
I love it.
And then when I'm out of words, then I find that I can now listen to that same meditation with the soft music again. And my mind may not be quiet, but it's settled.
Yes. Yes.
And then you can get more clear about what it is you're asking about or focusing on.
Exactly. Exactly. So I do, or in the past have taught meditation classes, vision board classes. I call them goddess classes.
Yeah, I love that.
To help women, once again,
Yeah.
see themselves, to be
Yeah.
able to pull the truest, deepest parts of themselves out so that they can express it and express themselves in the world.
Well, we do vision board parties probably once or twice a year, depending on.
Well, I can't wait.
And
I'm
so
the next one.
the next one, you're going to come and you're going to instruct our table
I would love
in my
to.
dining room, and we'll invite some ladies over, and we'll do a vision board party
Yes,
soon.
it'll be a lot of fun.
The new year's coming. So
Yes, it is.
It's time.
It's
It
the
is
perfect
coming.
time.
And I think, let's go back to writing down goals for a minute, because this is what I'm terrible about, because I'm a visionary. And I think a lot of us women entrepreneurs are, right? Because we are kind of a stereotypical kind of that go-getter. We have big ideas, we have visions, and we kind of go after it.
Yes.
And I think what happens a lot in my world is those ideas then create rabbit holes or distractions more than they do results.
Yeah.
How do you get around that? Or how do you help women get around that part of our lives?
The same way, again, writing it down. There's a transformation that happens when you put things on paper. We do word bubbles. So even when they're starting their business and they want to do 100 things and it's like, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. Da, 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 da. Okay, write it all down.
Okay.
And then circle the things that are all in alignment in yellow and circle the other things in red. And just to give patterns for yourself to be able to see exactly where your heart is really leaning towards, and then what is just extra.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, find your passions and how they're connected and throw the rest away.
Okay. You need to be on one of our LinkedIn Lives, and we need to do a word bubble exercise, because I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
And that would be helpful for us visionaries.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing. You write them all down that come to mind.
Just write
them down randomly on the sheet of paper, not in a line, just random.
Yeah.
And then, grab your colored pencils or markers or highlighters and highlight the ones that are in the same.
That would probably work in other areas of your life too.
Yes, most definitely.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I've never heard of that one.
Again, all to bring focus. So that, again, you know exactly what you want, because that's what I do with my clients. Yeah. What do you want? How do we get there?
Okay.
And we reverse engineer and financially get them to whatever it is they're trying to create.
Very nice.
That's amazing.
Very nice.
Well, obviously that's not easy though. And again, I know that you said you attended classes and you did lots of trainings and certifications. But what do you do even in your personal life or in your business to continue to educate yourself and be knowledgeable for your clients? But then again, like you said, you meditate and you do vision boards. So there's personal things that you do to help yourself stay educated as well. So tell us a little bit about that.
I think we all need a therapist and a coach.
Amen. Amen.
And I have several coaches. I have spiritual coaches, I have business coaches, and I have just a run-of-the-mill,
Like
another
life
life coach that all help me in different ways. Now, does everyone need to go out and get a team? Maybe not, but at least have one or two people that can see outside of you that are,
or a financial coach,
or a financial coach that's my business coach. They're in the finance world,
Right.
but yeah, that can see outside of you to help you see your blind spots. So yeah, I'm taking a class on this and I'm going back to get another license and all of those things. But when I'm making those decisions, I sit down with my business coach, give them my vision, and have them help me to see what I need to do to get there.
Right.
Or with my spiritual coach, I feel like crap and I don't want to do this. What is in the way that's stopping me from having the motivation to do the things that I think I want to do?
Right.
So again, we need someone that can see outside of ourselves to help steer us. And I think that's more important than any class that you can go to, is really having someone that can see you and help you to kind of focus on what's important to you.
I love that. And, someday I'm going to write a book about all these podcasts and we're going to go back and listen to them and create a bubble about the podcast, because certain things come out in almost every one. So as we meet with successful women entrepreneurs and business owners, the same themes we're finding in very different individuals and that have had very different paths and have very different current professions, they all have similarities. And one of them is coaching.
Yeah.
Everyone that has come in that is at that level has said, I have a coach of some sort. And I've invested in coaching. And that to me has become so eye-opening, because coaching to me up until 5 or 6 years ago was a new concept. I'm like, well, why do you need coaching? And when you think about that, professional athletes are at the top of their game and they have multiple coaches, right? So why do you think as women, we don't look for more coaching? Is it just an awareness thing, do you think?
It's twofold. It's a bit of awareness and the fact that the woman is supposed to have all the answers.
Oh, we're like Google.
We are the Google for the family. We're the hub of the family.
You're right.
And when we don't have the answers, we once again revert back to blame, guilt, and shame because everything revolves around us.
Because we're so expected to just know.
It's the societal expectations that keep us in that space for not necessarily even having the courage or willpower to ask for help. We don't even tell our girlfriends some of the things that are going on in our lives, let alone a stranger.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. And I think sometimes, so let's address this. Coaching might be a little out of somebody's budget or price range right now. Like it just may not be feasible if they're on a financial track where they're trying to, recover from a situation or get to a positive instead of a negative. So what's another way, do you think? I've been thinking about this a lot for my own personal need for like a round table or a group of women that I feel like are at my level, because you have to surround yourself with people better than you if you want to get better. I believe that wholly. So what are ways that women can get that support if they don't have the money to hire a coach? Do we have any ideas on
Mentorship. It's
that?
usually free.
Now, where do you go to find that?
Networking events is a great space for that. SCORE, if you're a business owner, is free. They're all across the country.
Okay.
SCORE. I don't know what SCORE stands for.
Yeah.
But their whole mission is to provide services for new business owners, and they actually pair you with a coach, and it's all free.
Wow.
Love that.
That's amazing.
Love that. Because I was just thinking, I don't want to single anyone out and say, you have to get a coach, and then somebody be listening and say, well, I would love to, but I can't.
Yeah, SCORE is a great place.
I know there's like in St. Petersburg, Florida, where we are, there's the Greenhouse, which I'm sure would have some mentors and some resources. So in your local community, maybe look for small business resources or small business resource centers like SCORE or a Greenhouse or some type of incubator for businesses, and see if there are any mentorships or networking groups that you could really inject yourself into.
Yes, most of the time there
I love that because it is hard to do it alone. Right?
Almost impossible. You can't do it alone.
It is impossible. You're right. I don't know that I've ever talked to a business owner that did it on their own.
Yeah.
No,
Without
they're
any
not.
help or any mentors or any
No, it doesn't
peer
happen.
groups or support systems. So you're
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
So we are at the end of our time, are getting close, and
Oh.
you have been an amazing guest, by the way, and your
Thank
story
you.
is just an incredible one of pieces that were floating out to one person's view that would never be connected, and you found a way to so beautifully connect them to offer a service so selflessly as you do. What is something, though, you want to leave our listeners with today, that moment of encouragement or
Mhm.
insightfulness that you'd like them to remember you by?
Just that you can manifest whatever you want in this life.
Oh,
It may seem impossible. You may not know what the steps are, but if you can see it, you can really create it. And it just takes, again, tapping into the right people that are on the
Yeah.
same level that you are in, that
Mhm.
maybe they're not on the same level. Maybe they're a step above in
Sure.
your mindset, but they can have made things come to be.
Love that.
Tap into them and see what you can do to go from 0 to step 1.
Love that.
Usually the first step is just telling someone, this is what I want to do. Not just anyone, someone that's ahead of you as far
Right.
as how you feel about where you're going, or someone
Yeah.
that's in that field. Oh, I really look up to you. You inspire me. What do I need to do to what's the first step to get to where you are?
Love that.
Yeah, you can manifest that life for yourself.
So you can change
So,
your life today,
yes.
starting today,
Yes.
Mhm.
into anything you want.
Today's the first day of the rest of your life.
I love
Mhm.
that. Rhonda, you have been an amazing guest. I can't thank you enough for being on with Morgan and I and,
Thank you
and
for
being
having
part of
me.
And in Heels. Thank you so much for being here. And we hope in
Yes.
future seasons, and we'll do LinkedIn Live, and we're going to do the bubble
Yes,
exercise.
word
bubbles.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Have a great holiday season, and we'll see you hopefully on a season in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. And just remember, women can do anything and in heels.